This is Record Royale, where we throw two albums into the ring with one another and see which one comes out on top.
Hey.
Here we go. We're back.
It's the Deadly Duo this week.
We are missing, for the first time, I believe,
Yeah, it's first one.
our fearless leader, Will St. Clair. Can't make it to the pod this week, so you got these two
Buffoons.
these two clowns, could say.
Yeah.
We had a lovely chat with Luke from the Dirty Nil. Turns out it's kind of hard when you don't have a host.
Yeah. I think I've always called myself a host, but really, I'm definitely just a commentator, I would say.
Yeah.
Will is the boss daddy host.
Yeah. We it's harder than it looks, that's for sure.
It is.
We
yeah.
sound kind of awkward. Yeah.
Bear with us for this app, I reckon.
Oh yeah, we had a bit of an audio problem as well. So you're getting a little bit of crusty footage, a little bit of crusty audio, which is fine. But what's been going on, Adam? We'll talk about it later.
Started a new job this week,
Yep.
which has been really fun.
Yep.
Bit of support work, and I've been really enjoying that.
That's good.
Been sweating a lot. It's very hot,
Yeah.
as per usual.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not much other than that though. What about you,
nice.
Bradley?
Uni's gone back. Had my staff party, my Chrissy party.
Ooh,
A couple of
wow.
days ago. Got a bit silly.
how silly.
I was asleep by like midnight, so not too silly.
It's not too silly.
It was on a Monday
We on-
night, I guess.
Were you on the
so-
mugs?
No, just on the beers.
No
Just a few
mugs.
beers. No,
That's strange for Bradley.
I can't be bothered making my own mugs at my own Chrissy party, so
Oh yeah. Was
Yeah.
it at your
it was at one of
Work?
the other places that's like affiliated with my work.
right? Your
So,
pub.
yeah.
Nice.
Apart from that, nothing at all.
I do have one strange thing had happen to me the other day.
Yeah.
I was going for a little run,
Right.
and it was rain. It started running. Oh, sorry, I didn't start running. It started raining halfway through my run, and I was like, it was a big run. It was a big, like a 20k hike of a run. It was pretty horrible. Started raining. Oh, it was probably like 3/4 through, so it wasn't too bad. I was dry for the most part, and it really started to pour. Like when it rained, it poured really hard.
Was
It was
this
quite
like
like a
last Friday?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, vicious storm. Anyway, got to my street, so I was right at the end, the very end, completely soaked in water, and just really wanted to get it over and done with. But I hadn't gotten up to 20k, so I had like 300 meters left to do. So I just went to the end of my street and back up to make sure I got to 20k's.
Right.
And as I got down to the end, there was this lady. She would have been like in her 40s, I'd say. This is like I think she was Russian maybe, and I had my headphones in really loud so I couldn't hear anything, and I just saw her pull out onto the path in front of me and just go, stop, and I was like,
Lady
oh
in
my
need.
god. Like when you see that, you immediately go, oh yeah, someone is dead, like someone's on the floor. It was like
crash.
such a big thing. Anyway, she points, I take my headphones out, soaking wet, like we're both just getting drenched.
Yeah.
And she goes, do you want to sleep with me on bed?
What?
And I was like, what? Sorry? And she points, and there's like a lounge that someone's put out for council cleanup just on the curb. And
Huh?
she points to it and goes, do you want to sit down, lie and sleep with me?
What the fuck?
And I didn't know what to
She
do.
looked like she was on drugs? Or what?
Maybe. Could have been, but she didn't look like, she just looked like, someone's mum. So I don't, it was a
Right.
kind of a strange, I didn't expect it. Anyway, I was like, oh, no, thank you. And then she started laughing and wouldn't let me go past. She's like, do you want to sleep with me on bed? I was like,
won't
no.
let you pass.
I was like, no. And I started running. Anyway, as I ran, she's laughing hysterically. She punches me in the back.
Huh?
Punches me as hard as she can in the back.
What type of boss battle is this?
I don't
And
know.
you
I was
you puffed
one
as
of the
well?
strangest human interactions I've ever had. It was Bowser. I was getting past Bowser, and it was fever dreamish. And the worst part was that I was at the end of this massive run, so I was like
absolutely spent.
already delusional, basically.
That's
But I'll tell you
crazy.
what, that last sprint home, I've never
You're
run
full of beans.
faster.
Yeah, right.
It was crazy. I was so scared.
Need
I was
lease
like,
on life.
That was some sort of trap.
That's insane. You always have the craziest interactions with people.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. You're good at
It
it.
was cool.
There's a few cookers at Cooks Hill, you know.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sunny Cooks Hill.
it was just sunny. It wasn't sunny that day, but anyway, very cooked.
Yeah. Oh well.
Horrible.
Oh well. Hey, you're talking to me now. You're talking to. Chat to
It's
Luke.
fine.
Everything's fine.
That's it. Yeah. Great app, this one. Before we get into it, I think we should probably talk about our wonderful sponsor. What do you reckon, Bradley?
I think so.
They've actually got a few new products out. So Manscaped, who have been looking after us for a little bit now, have launched their Ultra Premium collection.
Ultra
Believe it
Premium
or not.
collection. Might put some reverb over that. Yeah.
Ultra Premium collection. Believe it or not, it's for your not-so-private parts. I'm talking about leveled-up hygiene routine with your favourite manly scent. This is an all-in-one skin and hair kit for the everyday man and covers you from head to toe, literally.
Wow.
Manscaped is trusted below the waist, but now you can trust them with everything else. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off free shipping with the code Royale.
Adam, what's your favourite manly scent?
Manly scent?
Yeah.
I would say...
This might be a new one. What was your previous?
Well, this is my new favourite manly scent. We have smelled these. They smell pretty good. But before, I would say like a petrol.
Yes, yeah. That's pretty good.
Petrol and Bundy rum.
Yeah.
Those two. Maybe
Hand in
like
hand.
footy
That's
boots.
it, man. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Manly smell. Just my own BO. Man.
Yeah, BO. That's the manly. Yeah,
Mm.
Unfortunately, that's what it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even though it's not maybe not be a favourite, but it's yours. You've made it, so it is you. All right.
Proud
so
of it.
yeah, this package that we're talking about, it's not just ball deodorant. They got just the body deodorant now for your stanky armpits. Stanky, keeping it cool. Nice, cool new words. Aluminium free. People do suffer from rashes and shit when they have
cooks your
aluminium.
armpits.
Yeah. There's a hydrating body moisturizer. I'm actually chasing this.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to be a wrinkly old man when I'm over. Everyone start moisturizing now, all right? Because you'll thank yourself later.
Have you done it?
I've bought it. I have a bottle, but I just touch it up maybe once a week when I'm feeling extra crusty.
Yeah. Georgia, my partner, she tells me to do it.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
it's good. When I do it, I'm like, yeah, that feels good. But I never remember to do it myself.
Because I get if I don't wear glasses, people see my rings around my eyes. What else we got? We got a body wash. I'm actually out of body wash, and I need to get some more, but I'm gonna wait. And wait till this beautiful package arrives. And then we got 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. Not much of a shampoo guy. I'm all for that Al Natural.
Oh,
After
really?
3 months, you get that natural oils coming through.
Is it stinky prior?
Yeah, there's a little period where you just feel gross, but then it comes back. Yeah.
Nice.
And
when was
then,
the last time you shampooed?
Yeah, a while ago. 2-3 months.
Whoa.
I know some people might think that's gross, but look it up.
I will.
It comes full circle. Your just hair gets good again, especially with going in the ocean and stuff as well.
Yeah.
4 fat products plus a gift inside this ultra premium collection. Get 20% off when you use Royale at manscaped.com, and be sure to subscribe. Oh, I don't think I have to say that. I don't know what that bit is. Oh no, that's something else. On you, Sani. You can say that. No, you won't. He's not here. There you go. So we got Luke from Dirty Nil coming on. Hope it's good. Get some Manscaped in you. Why not?
Yeah, do it. Sort yourself out.
Yeah. They're paying the bills.
They are. Yeah, you're helping us out too.
Yeah.
Your friends. Maybe if you buy it, Will might come back.
Right, yeah. He wants more. He demands more.
He wants more. He's on strike at the moment. He's not making enough, and so he's left. And
you're about to hear what happens when we leave. So
you don't want this as much as we don't. You don't want to hear us wail on ourselves ever again. you have to buy from Manscaped. Okay?
Simple as that.
All right. There we go.
Rightio. Let's wrap it up. We got Luke from the Dirty Nil coming on. Here it is.
How are we going? We are very excited about today because not only do we get to talk about 2 all-time classic albums, but joining us for our second ever international guest is the singer and guitarist of Canadian band The Dirty Nil. Pleasure to have Luke Bentham on the show today.
Woo! It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Luke, how are we going?
Things are good. Just not on the road right now, which is nice, but looking forward to getting back out there and just working on a lot of new music and other stuff. So yeah, really happy.
Awesome.
Really?
I saw you guys you've been playing a fair few shows though over the last couple of months. You did the Every Time I Die, a couple of shows with them.
Yeah, we did that. We did that Tid the Season show with Ice-T and Knocked Loose.
Yeah. Just before everything kind of fell apart, sadly, with them. Just sad.
Yeah.
You played their last show, wouldn't you?
We did play their last show.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was sad, but it was great to watch them from the side of the stage.
Yeah.
I will say that although it was Every Time I Die's show, I have to say that Knocked Loose stole the show.
Really?
The heaviest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And all of us had eaten like a sizable edible after our set, and it was in full swing when Knocked Loose went on, and it just felt like the building was going to fall over. Like I was actually, it was the scariest band I've ever seen. It was very good.
I was gonna say was it an album or an EP? It was an album, but like a shorter album.
Yeah, I think so.
That they released. That is one of the most guttural, like heaviest things I've ever heard in my life. Like it actually frightens me when I listen to it, I would say.
Yeah. As I said, I've never seen, we've played with a lot of heavy bands, but I've never, they're just on a whole other level.
That's so sick. That's great. That would have been terrifying as well. So I imagine.
It was quite terrifying. But Ice-T, who I think went on right after Knocked Loose, or maybe right before, I can't remember, but Ice-T was also excellent. He had some of the best stage banter I've ever heard.
Sick. Was it Ice-T? What's the band that he's in?
Body Count.
Was he doing Body Count stuff, or was he just doing Ice-T stuff?
He was just doing Ice-T stuff.
Wow.
And he was saying some really, really funny stuff on the stage. But that was like our second last show of the year that we got to play one really, really awesome show in London, Ontario. And then our 2 Hamilton shows, our local hometown shows, got postponed to April because of the pandy.
Yeah, the pandy.
It was just fucking awesome to get out there and, wear some studs again and do some windmills and sweat for the children, That's what it's all about.
That's great.
Absolutely.
About 6 months ago, we had a couple guys from between you and me, JT and Bassie, who came on the show, and they brought on your album, Fuck Art, and we absolutely loved it. We did that against Big Vibe by Seaway.
Right on. That's great.
Yeah, it was so good. That was the first time we were exposed to your music, and we've become massive fans since then.
Fuck yeah.
Was just wondering have you guys been in the studio sorting some new stuff out to follow it up?
Yeah, totally. I mean, we've got a lot of new music, more than we typically have to go into to make a recording, but I think we have more than. I think we're trying to get our ducks in a row to have some more steady releases rather than an album and then 2 years of silence or whatever it typically is.
Stockpiling.
We are stockpiling, but we're just getting our plans together to make a record and plus some more other stuff. But I'm super, super stoked. I mean, nothing makes me more excited about the future. It gives me more optimism than having a bunch of bangers in my fucking back pocket.
Yeah. It's better to have more than you need too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great comfortable position to be in.
It certainly is. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I mean, one of the benefits of this time at home, like getting off the cycle of just constant touring, which I miss. Again, I definitely love the road, but getting to just, bash away without any kind of clock, and getting to kind of make some music that you can kind of, not to get all, I don't know, I guess, like, not to get too mushy with the whole thing, but to get to, figure out what you want to do, and explore some stuff, and deadlines are good for sure, but we've just been bashing away and, stripping the plaster from the ceiling with volume for a few months. Mm-hmm. So it's been great.
That's great. Are you guys are you the type of band that'll usually do right on the road, or are you mostly just got to be at home sort of thing?
I mean, I try and keep generating ideas and stuff on the road, but all those ideas, like the actual usable amount of time on the road, is something I always overestimate while I'm at home. Like, most of the day is just in the van, right? Getting to the next place. Yeah. And then when we're there, like, we'll sound check some stuff a little bit and maybe work some new stuff into the set. But usually, I mean, like the vast majority of working on music comes for us at home typically. But I do plink away. We always bring out some shitty acoustic guitars that I use to just kind of start sketching on or coming up with some ideas.
I just don't understand. Whenever you hear bands, like a lot of American bands and Canadian bands as well, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, we wrote a whole new album or like 2 albums during our tour." I just can't understand how you would have the time to do that, because there's a lot of moving time, but crazy. Anyway,
I guess if you have a bus or something, you can sit in the back lounge and plunk away all day.
Yeah,
like a driver who's just driving away. Yeah,
that's true. You've thrown it back with your album choices for this week. What made you go with Sticky Fingers and Let It Be?
Well, I wanted to go with Let It Be by the Beatles and Let It Be by the Replacements. Yeah. But Let It Be had already been taken. But I mean, these 2 ones, I mean, I'm surprised they haven't been chosen yet, but they're just kind of 2 of the albums that really made me reconnect with rock and roll and what I love about it. And I just think they're completely flawless and but also messy and crazy. And there's other albums in both bands' catalog that I think could be considered the number one, and even I kind of shift around what my favorite one is. And if I would have responded with the email this week, I may have responded with Exile on Main Street or Tim by the Replacements. But those are the ones that I chose because I think that they're the 2 that I really connected with originally by both bands. And particularly with the Rolling Stones, like, they're just such an omnipresent entity in the landscape of not only music but pop culture that I never really took them seriously until I heard Sticky Fingers. Because you're like, Satisfaction, that song, it's Start Me Up, and I was just so used to the, no offense, but really kind of haggard 90s 80s and beyond version of the Rolling Stones with like neon colors and stuff, and that just wasn't really my bag. It didn't really connect with me visually, but somebody told me to listen to Sticky Fingers once, and now I understand. And once I was connected with that, I really got into a lot of their other stuff. So it's they're a band that's very easy to overrate, I think, just because, as I said, how omnipresent they are.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's very true, and I think also because they always get grouped in with the Beatles, it's also like almost a little bit unfair to them at some points, because the Beatles are like so ridiculous, and obviously the Stones are so good as well. But I think they can be overrated at some points. But this album is ridiculous. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's I mean, to me, I think that both these albums represent the band, in retrospect, at the absolute zenith of their power. And so that's kind of why I chose these 2.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
get
no,
into
they're
it.
great.
Yeah.
All right, might get into some quick facts about these ones before we get started. So Rolling Stones, we covered these guys once on the pod before. We did Let It Bleed last year against Let It Be, funnily enough. Formed in London, 1962. We got Mick Jagger on vocals, Keith Richards on guitar, Mick Taylor on guitar, Bill Wyman on bass, and Charlie Watts on drums. This is their 9th studio album, released on April 23rd, 1971 by their own label. It's produced by Jimmy Miller, who did like all of Rolling Stone stuff, Motorhead and Primal Scream, just to name a few. It had 2 singles. It had Brown Sugar and Wild Horses, and it had B-sides Bitch and Sway on both of those. Peaked at number 1 in 10 countries, including Australia, the US, UK, and Canada. Not as many countries kept count of this back in the early 70s, so we only know about those ones. Andy Warhol took the photo of the artwork.
That's cool.
Which is pretty cool. Album was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, and we've talked about this a million times. Rolling Stone's best albums of all time. It is number 104, which is pretty high up. One of our highest on the top 500 albums, I think.
Decent.
Yeah.
Very high. All right. I'm going to have a crack at doing the replacements. Shout to Samey. He's not here today. We're going to do our best as we're missing our host. All right. The replacements. Formed in Minneapolis, Minnesota, 1979. It's pretty cold in Minnesota, isn't it? From that little Yachty song. That's all I really know about it.
Very cold.
It's cold like Minnesota. Paul Westerberg on lead vocals and guitar. Tommy Stinson on bass. Bob Stinson on lead guitar. Slim Dunlap. That's a cool name.
That's a great
lead
name.
guitar. Chris Mars on the drums. It's their 3rd studio album released on October 2nd, 1984 by Twin Tone Records. I haven't really heard. I don't know if we've done anything by them.
No, I don't think we've done anything.
Yeah. Produced by Steve Flagistad.
Yeah.
Manager was Peter Jasperson and singer Paul Westberg. Yeah. One single, I Will Dare, which is the opener. And the album name, it was partially intended as a joke on the Replacements manager, Peter Jackson, who was a huge Beatle fan. Westerberg has stated the name was, in our way of saying nothing is sacred. It's pretty cool. And the Beatles are just a fine rock and roll band. That's I didn't know about that. It's very cool.
Yeah, and they were actually going to call it Let It Bleed, the next one.
Really? That's
hilarious. Which is hilarious.
So the next one was Tim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a really, really wholesome story. Our local record store, Rudderless Records, owned by a lovely guy named Ben Leese. I went back to his house one day after his birthday on the piss and asked what would he bring on the podcast, and he said Tim by the Replacements, and then proceeded to gift me the record. Oh, you can't see it. Gave me the record and gave me the biography. You can't see it either.
Sick.
But it was crazy how much this band I've never even heard of meant to him.
Yeah.
He was like, and he couldn't even explain it. It was really interesting. So, and I think that's what I've gotten from listening to this album this week as well. It's like almost not like I had to be there sort of thing, but it seems like it's all about the community and the culture and like the connection with the fans and the music. It's like, I don't know. What would you say about that, Luke, about Replacements?
Yeah, I think that, my favorite band of all time, and it'll never, ever change, is the Replacements. And I am one of those psychos, those Replacements psychos that's like, if after like I probably have had like 4 pints, like if I have any control, I'm forcing people to put on the Replacements because that's just who I am. And it's, I discovered the Replacements when I was about 18 years old or so. I heard Bastards of Young off of Tim, the album that you were mentioning. And I was just immediately, developed a lifelong obsession with them. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find a band with more mythology around them than the Replacements.
Yeah.
In terms of antics, and infighting, and just the most volatile, self-destructive band maybe that ever existed.
I was reading about their live shows that people would just go because they knew that they were kind of going to watch a train wreck because they would just get so drunk. And I think there's a few songs on this album that are about just not being able to hold it together, and it's like seeing that I think, is it We're Coming Out? I'm pretty sure. That song is about like not knowing whether they're going to be too drunk to play or not.
Yeah. And
which is sick.
I think that one of the reasons why I kind of chose both records is because, to me, like the Rolling Stones and Sticky Fingers represents like kind of the absolute pinnacle of first wave rock and roll, or maybe not first wave, however you'd like to describe, British rock and roll. And the Replacements' Let It Be kind of represents the absolute peak of kind of post rock, or the Replacements weren't afraid to reference classic rock and blues and hardcore and jazz and anything. And as you mentioned earlier, they had a nothing is sacred type approach to rock and roll that has been a constant fountain of inspiration for me. When you don't take these things sacred, or when you don't give them some sort of magisterial quality, and you say, well, we can steal from anybody and it doesn't matter what we do. It's just much more liberating and fun as a musician to adopt that kind of attitude, rather than the Rolling Stones were gods and we should never try anything that they ever tried. Fuck that.
I think I read that they were talking about coming into this album, maybe even the album before, because they were just originally more of a straight hardcore band. Is that right? Like when they started up?
They kind of, the first album is called Sorry Ma, Forgot to Take Out the Trash, and it is all live off the floor. I don't think there's any guitar overdubs or anything, and it is one of the most cooking, best kind of straight ahead punk records. It's very, one of the reasons why I love the Replacements is because they're very rooted in American music. Just like you can hear Hank Williams in Paul's songwriting style and his voice. He's got a good like this kind of like good country on speed type vocal vibe.
I got a bit of Bruce Springsteen as well, actually, in that same
there's
way.
definitely some Springsteen commonality there. But the second record, which is an EP, it's called Stink, and that's basically straight up hardcore.
Sick.
And then they made Hootenanny after that, which is like, when you listen to Hootenanny, parts of it, especially like the first song, it's like, how did this get recorded? This is absolutely like, there's no question about why this band didn't become successful. But then again, there's amazing songs on Hootenanny. And Let It Be is kind of the kind of best balance of their early years of like, don't like, who cares? But also Paul's bringing some pretty A-game songs to the table that they're all playing very well. And Tim represents their kind of best foray into stadium rock, but still having a bit of a thinner production sound that I think hindered it a bit. But I think their best, most anthemic songs are on Tim. And then beyond that, you've got, I think their last really classic album is Pleased to Meet Me, which is 1987, which has probably the best like sound to it, best production, crispest, like most heavy sounding production. And then from there they kind of go off into it, they kind of disintegrate into like an alt country thing and then stop.
Right. I was gonna say, going back to what you were saying about how they just didn't see anything as sacred and they were happy to just try new things and go into like any sort of direction. I kind of hear a lot of that in your stuff as well, definitely on like, especially on Fuck Art. We loved how you just didn't know, you couldn't pinpoint which direction it was going to go each song, which was great. Like, I think when you started it off, you think, all right, this is cool. This has kind of got that pop punk feel. And then you go into like some way heavier stuff and then like some almost like Americana spots as well, it's awesome. But I can definitely hear that on this album as well. The kind of every song is its own thing, which is cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna steal from the best. And I think
Yeah.
Paul Westerberg, his approach to music in general has been kind of the thing that has resonated with me the most and has given me the most joy with that kind of ethos to play. I mean, you know, I know enough about the Replacements to not really want to mimic any of their actual career choices. But in terms of musical freedom and a kind of utilitarian blue collar attitude towards what you make, I think is something that I really resonates with me.
Wow. Absolutely. Kind of the Rolling Stones, this one, they definitely a little bit more varied on this album as well, I would say. And I was reading, I think Mick took most of the reins on this album. From what I was reading on Genius, I think Keith was battling a pretty bad heroin addiction during this album. So I think Mick took up the guitar for this one and actually does a lot of the recording on it, which is really cool. But because of that, I think that's why we get a lot of, like, a fair few ballads and things, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, which is great. Like, I Got the Blues and a few of the other ones. It's just way more.
I think that
all this stuff.
Yeah, and I think that you know, Mick Jagger, again, talk about an omnipresent character, but Mick Jagger, I think, pound for pound, is one of the greatest songwriters of all time. Like, his lyrics are so good, especially on this album and Exile. But I think that you know, songs like that he plays guitar on are super cool. Like, he has a cool, some of the heaviest sounding Stones songs, like Sway, is him playing guitar.
Which is great.
And I think this is
great on that track.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say his vocals are unbelievable on that track as well, I reckon.
Oh, amazing. And I think that, you know, starting with, you know, this is the first album where you can kind of clearly see the disparate paths between them and the Beatles, where the Beatles are basically done, you know, in 71 they're done. And the Stones are really, really coming into their ultimate form and their height, which is like, we're a, you know, a blues based rock band that nobody can touch, basically. We're just on fire. We're the best band in the world right now. That's why I love this album.
No, I loved it. What did you think of I know there was a bit in the news recently about Brown Sugar. They've omitted it from their live set because they think that I'm sure they probably don't think it, but maybe their manager and publicist has said, I think the lyrics on this song could be problematic. What do you take from that song?
I mean, from my standpoint, it's like, I mean, the lyrics are insane in that song. Like, when you look at them on like a sheet of paper, it's like, that's wild that you recorded that. But you know, I also think that, I mean, my interpretation of it is that it is like, you know, and you know, it's anti everything.
Well, that's kind of what I thought as well.
All that subject matter. But I understand too that, like, you know, especially being, you know, a bunch of, you know, heterosexual white guys that should, you know, probably just like, if there are massive grievances from their fans, the people are going to their shows, that, I mean, they can do whatever they want, but I mean, it's they have so many other songs too, other great songs, that I think that, you know, it might be probably not the moment to be playing that kind of stuff. And it may never have been the moment to actually be singing those lyrics. Like, it's such a
tough one. It is, because I was reading Keith. He was talking about in an interview recently, because it was in the news, and he was saying he can remember when he wrote it, when Mick Jagger wrote it, and apparently he just got onto an idea. He had like one line, and then he just watched him, and he just continuously wrote for like an hour, and he just kept writing. He just had like 10 pages of all these lyrics, but obviously none of that made it on. And Keith was kind of looking at it just like, holy shit. Like, he just keeps going. He's like, this is pretty crazy, this song, but let's do it. But like, I think it's in a perspective, and it is something that did happen, like the subject matter, obviously. So I don't think it's not like racist at all. It's just kind of a look at what happened, really. I think the issue with it is it's such a sexy song as well. Like it just feels sexy, so you feel kind of dirty about it. Like, you know,
that's funny.
Well, I think that, you know, you raise a good point. I mean, like it's you know, even if you take the lyrics and you don't buy the whole context thing or the perspective thing, like they are completely, for me at least, the edge of them is nullified by how fucking good the music
it's such a good song
on the song. Like, that song, as you said, it makes you want to kind of dance, and you kind of can't not dance when you hear that song. And so it's a very powerful, strange, dark song. And I think at some point, you know, it'll be rehabilitated into the collective masses. But you know, it's just one of those things that as I said, I see both sides from it. I'm just glad I'm not in the position to. I'm glad it's not one of my songs.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. That first 4 tracks are unbelievably good. It's got one of the best like opening sets, I reckon, of an album. Because that one's way Wild Horses and Can't You Hear Me Knocking.
Can't You Knocking's sick.
So
I've never heard that before. Hey.
Yeah, I kind of forgot it. I think I've listened to this album a fair few times, but I think I just didn't pay enough attention to Can You Hear Me Knocking, because that track is ridiculous. So good.
I think that's some of Keith Richards' best guitar playing that he ever laid down ever in that song. And you know, a funny thing about Brown Sugar and Wild Horses is that those were recorded in 1969 while they were on their first tour of the United States that they had done in like 5 years or something.
Yeah.
And they were still under contract, so they weren't technically allowed to record, but they had gotten kind of so good as a live band, and they had whipped off these 2 songs that they booked some time. I think they did it at Muscle Shoals in like 2 days. They recorded these 2 songs and had to keep them secret until they're out of their contract, and then they just put them on this record.
That's so crazy.
What are you up to? Nothing. No.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Just writing 2 of the biggest songs of all time.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not getting them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a great piece of footage in the, I think it's in the Altamont documentary, which was kind of the climax for multiple reasons of the 1969 American tour. But there's video of them recording those songs in the studio, and there's video of them listening to like the kind of acetate mixes back. And you know, Keith Richards and Mick Jagger don't exactly get along, and they didn't get along at that point either.
No, yeah.
But you can see them, they're kind of like Keith's leaning there smoking, and Mick's like sitting on the edge of the bed, and they're looking at each other. And I think they're the only 2 people in the room. Yeah. They're clearly driving the bus, but you can tell by their body language, they're listening to Brown Sugar, and they're like, we have a fucking banger on our hands.
Yeah, they're such a funny, it's amazing that they haven't just fully broken up. Over the years. They would have to be like, I mean, they've hated each other pretty much since the beginning. Like there was only a brief time that they were really friends, and they wrote, like, it's all them, those 2 really, all the songwriting pretty much. And I mean, you hear all the stories of all their tours, like pretty much since the 80s, and they're like staying in completely different hotels and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just amazing that they've had such a long career and are still able to get up and play.
Still going.
Yeah. Well, I think in the 80s they kind of like Mick Jagger really wanted to do his own thing, and they were really, really hating each other by the 80s. And Mick Jagger put out like a solo album or 2 that did not go well, and he kind of realized like, I need Keith. Like, I'm Mick Jagger, but like he is Keith Richards. Like, I kind of do need him.
Yeah, you definitely need him. Yeah, yin and yang, those 2.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
I think that also I think that Sticky Fingers also has some like the best engineering. Like I think it's like one of their best sounding albums, if not their best sounding album. I mean, Exile's really stylized and murky and cool sounding and very kind of Tom Waitsy. Yeah. But I don't know if Glyn Johns engineered parts of Sticky Fingers, but whoever did a really, really good job.
Yeah.
And,
I definitely
you
love
know,
the mix of this one. Probably this one and
perform-
Let It Bleed of all of them are probably my favorites. It's just like there's a lot of room on them, I would
Yeah.
say. Like they're big sounding, but there's also like, I don't know, it's not like, you know, like it's not just fully in your face all the time. There is like space and there's a lot of piano and stuff, and like it just feels a lot grander and a lot
breathing
of
room
room for mixed vocals. Like I love his vocals on this album so
Yeah.
much. He really he sounds quite like broken in parts,
Yeah.
which is cool.
I think his kind of best screams that he ever laid down are on this album. And,
Yeah.
Wow.
you know, I think now I listened to do you guys have like a format? Do we go through track by track, or do you want me to just
Oh no, we can just go whatever we want. Like
okay,
whatever you
well,
want.
I think that you know, something that unites these two albums is just like, you know, obviously a really, really good kickoff track, which you know is extremely dancey and different from maybe the rest of their catalog. I mean, the Rolling Stones less so, but I Will Dare by the Replacements is a very kind of jangly, strange tune that is just a bit of an outlier in their catalog.
Yeah.
And obviously we've talked about Brown Sugar. It's just like, it's such an instant that, you know, this, you're about to listen to a good goddamn album type feel. And also, you know, one of the things that unites these two albums for me too is the closing tracks. And on Let It Be, it's Answering Machine.
Yeah.
And that's essentially basically Paul just playing by himself, and the band kind of joins in at the end, and there's some weird tape loops and stuff happening at the very end. But
that was one of my
again,
favorite tracks.
Quite an
me
outlier.
too. You see so many bands to do that whole answering machine thing. I wonder if they were one of the first to do it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I like the idea, a lot of the ideas behind the songs on this album. I really like the fact that they've obviously just written about exactly what they want to write about. Like it doesn't seem like there's been anyone saying, oh, maybe let's just do like a couple love songs or something. Cause like that one is literally, I read it's just about him hating answering machines. Like he hates the fact that people do that. He would rather people ring and then they just get a message saying, I'm not here. And then you don't get the call. Which is crazy. And then you've got Tommy Gets His Tonsils Out.
About the bass player Tommy.
Yeah. And what was oh God, I haven't got it written down. The boner one.
Gary's got a boner.
So funny.
Yeah.
They really weren't afraid to be kind of silly, which is great. I really like that. I think that there's some really like touching and like serious parts, like on Androgynous, which is like ridiculously beautiful and really forward thinking as well for the time. I think like I couldn't actually believe it when I was listening to it. Just like a pro trans track in the 80s is crazy. But then followed by those tracks, it's just it's crazy all over the place.
And a Kiss cover, you know.
And a Kiss
Black
cover.
Diamond.
Like Diamond. Yeah. So sick.
You know, I think the second song is
Favorite Thing.
Favorite Thing is like one of the. It's just like such a classic Replacements type song where it's like really, really country. As I said, country music on meth, you know, type feel. From the guitar playing and just that's what I was saying earlier about the kind of Hank Williams root that Paul Westerberg has. You can really hear it on a song like that where we're in the verses, and then they have this wild kind of like Kiss guitar solo that's pretty, you know, pretty unmelodic and dissonant, and then kind of sounds like it's going to go off the rails and comes back together again, and then has a big ending. Like it's a classic Replacement song. There's not really a chorus to it.
No,
it's just like a central. There's just sections to it. I mean, this album to me captures a lot of the best of the band, where you have, as you mentioned, very sincere, beautiful songs, complemented by incredibly immature songs like Gary's Got a Boner or Tommy Gets His Tonsils Out. and then a Kiss cover as the ultimate fuck you. I mean, there was probably not a time where Kiss was less cool than the 80s, and that's why the Replacements put that on.
So sick. It's kind of got a Blink energy to it almost.
Yeah, totally.
Honestly, I'm sure Blink are big fans.
They're the kind of I also think of the Replacements somewhat as the American Rolling Stones. I think there's a lot of parallels in terms of their, it depends on the night though with the Replacements, obviously. But there's I think a real understanding of American music that's I think what unites those two bands. I mean, the Rolling Stones were just doing their best to emulate American music, and the Replacements were, American musicians, and also, were highly influenced by British invasion music. So it's funny way music works, that way.
Mm-hmm. No, it all goes into each other.
Very cool.
Should we get into the segments? We've got a couple segments. I don't know if you've got anything
let's
for
do
it.
it.
Yeah. The first one's called Get Inked.
Get Inked.
We'll be making a few tattoo ideas from a song from each album. I don't know if you might not know about this one, Luke. Have you been told about that one?
No,
that's all right. Well, we're gonna spit some really shit tattoo ideas at you, and you can just tell us which ones you think are good.
Okay, which one I get?
Yeah. Which one would you get? You're probably not going to want to get any of them, and that's
I think
all right as well.
Yeah.
Mine for the Rolling Stones from the song "Bitch." There's a line: "I'm feeling hungry, can't see the reason, just had a horse meat pie." You might not know this about Australia, Luke, but in Australia, our most common, I guess it's kind of like our version of the hot dog, I guess, is a meat pie, which is you eat them at all
it's like
sporting events,
gas station sort of
gas stations,
meat pie.
Yeah, meat pie. If you're drunk and you're walking past a corner store, you get a meat pie, and that's
nice.
And over here we have an iconic brand called 4 and 20, which is that you can get them at within 10 meters at all times. So I was just thinking maybe one of them with their brand logo, and maybe it says horse meat pie with a big maybe BoJack the Horseman on it.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, you have to explain it to everyone you met, but it's,
that's often the case with all of our
the 5% would be like, oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah. So there's that piece of shit, and then my one for the Replacements. Oh, what have I got here? Oh yeah, just from Tommy Gets His Tonsils Out. I thought it's just such a brutal the way that they explain it. There's a line: "Rip, rip, we're gonna rip them out now." I was thinking maybe like a side profile. This is really gruesome now that I read it. A side profile of a guy in a chair, and the dentist has just got his arm in the guy's mouth. It's literally just ripping the tonsils out.
Whoa,
it'd be pretty brutal.
That's good.
That's a hardcore.
I'll take that one.
Yeah,
I'll take that one.
Thanks. Take that one to the bank.
Nice.
What do you reckon, Brad?
So my Rolling Stones one is from Can't You Hear Me Knocking? The title is, the lyric is, "Hear me ringing the big bell tolls." I just thought of Metallica when I heard bell tolls. So I've just got Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, maybe in a South Park sort of style with big thrash metal haircuts. And they just having turns of whacking a big bell.
I love it.
An oversized bell with big wooden hammers or something.
Nice.
And for the Replacements, I've got from Answering Machine. I think the lyric is, "Try and breathe some life into a letter. Losing hope, we'll never be together." That's a beautiful line.
Mm.
So I'm thinking another crude sort of drawing, like a passport or a minty sort of style drawing. I'm thinking an old guy trying to throw a paper plane and blow the paper plane to a lady of interest on the other side of your arm or something. But there's just a bunch of paper planes on the ground.
Oh yeah. So one arm and then blowing it over to the other arm. Is that right?
Maybe or on the same on your forearm or something.
Oh yeah.
And there's a bunch of paper planes on the ground. He's trying to just blow this shitty homemade paper plane to this lady.
It's pretty beautiful, Brad.
Yeah.
I love it.
Heartfelt.
That's pretty
Sounds
good.
like a good back piece.
Yeah. From one and the other.
You taking any of them, Luke?
You know, I what if I just took them all as a giant back piece?
That would
and
be
then just
crazy.
Took my
We do
shirt
like a
off
big-
everywhere I go and
yeah.
explain it all.
We
It
love
would
a
be
big
really
back piece on the
confusing,
show.
but it'd be good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Well done.
All right, yeah, they weren't too bad. They were all right this week.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're usually a lot shitter, if you can
Yeah.
even imagine that. So,
No, some good ones in there. Come on.
Yeah.
yeah.
We give ourselves credit this week.
All right. We'll get the ad next.
Yes.
God, I'm absolutely butchering this. Will's going to kill me later.
Absolutely butchering this.
For the ad, we're going to take our 2 favorite songs, which will go into our playlist on Spotify, which now has, how many songs has it got? 600 maybe?
1 million.
1 million songs. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's a big playlist that we have a few of our favorites from every single episode. Luke, what are your favorite track from either album?
Had to choose.
I think my favorite song on Let It Be is Answering Machine.
Great
Or Favorite Thing. And my favorite song on on Sticky Fingers is Moonlight Mile.
Yeah.
Or I really like Sway.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 favorites.
Moonlight Mile is so beautiful.
Yeah.
We never got a chance to talk about that. I mean,
No.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, like it's funny, you know, when bands or artists of any kind are able to just like transcend their genre and just make something so mysterious and beautiful that they probably didn't intend for it to be that way. But again, another song where Keith is not on. It's just Mick and Mick Taylor playing bass and Charlie Watts, just the 3 of them. And I think they got some overdubs put on top of it. But I mean, that song, it might be it's one of my favorite songs of all time. It's just such a awesome recording.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That one, I feel like that one and Androgynous on both, like on these 2 albums, they just kind of felt like, because it's kind of hectic the rest of the album, and then you just get this song that is just beautiful, kind of like it's not so much like got this big edge or anything, and it's not sexy or anything like that. It's just like beautiful, and it's kind of like an oasis in the desert almost. It's really nice. They really stick out. Yeah.
Another song that would be fucking impossible to play live, but as a recording is just, you know, a special. The stars aligned on that session, you know, in a way that you can tell, especially with a band like the Rolling Stones, they could have never done it like that ever again.
Yeah.
And if Keith was there, it would have been different, and you know, it would have been very different had they not did it that
Flattening
day.
a bottle.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Yours, Brad?
I'll go. I also have Moonlight Mile, but I'll go. Can't You Hear Me Knocking. I just think that's like, one of the longest songs on the album. Love the outro. I can listen to that all day. A bit like Black Magic Woman, sort of Santana sort of steez.
A fair bit of Santana going on, which is cool.
Nothing wrong with a bit of Santana around here. And for the replacements, I might go. I think is it Seeing Your Video, where it's like just almost like a jam song.
Yeah.
It's just I had a great time with that. I know it's maybe a bit different from all the other ones, but I think that's why I liked it so much. I was like, what? Why is there just this?
Then the vocals come in right at the end on that one. Right in the last sort of quarter, and that song's so good.
Guitar solo is sick as well.
Yeah,
and like there's some weird like
Blue is kind of like that, like just a completely different vibe, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like, it took me by surprise. Absolutely. Adam?
I'll go Sway from Sticky Fingers. As we said before, it's just that song is ridiculously good. Mixed vocals on it and his lyrics on it are just unreal. I think that and Can't You Hear Me Knocking kind of floored me this week, I think. But Sway, love that song. And then for the replacements, I'll probably go. I'll go Androgynous. As I said before, I just thought it was a really I just didn't see it coming, I guess. I've never listened to this band before, so it just kind of really smashed me getting through. I was like, this is so good. No malice, just like a properly beautiful song and very progressive for the time, which for an album that has those other songs that we talked about, it's kind of crazy that it's on there. It's beautiful.
It's one of those songs too that like it could be made famous by a pop singer. It's that
definitely
kind of, refined and perfect in its melody and chord progression and everything. It's just such a great fucking song that, I mean, in its basic entity, it's already an A+ tune, but the way they recorded it too, that kind of vulnerable and that atmospheric feel that they have for it is again just a perfect treatment for that song.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Yeah, love that song so much.
I love Paul kind of falling off the piano at the very end.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah. The piano, I love the piano on that song because it does feel it's like a little bit clunky all the way through. But I think that helps that vulnerable feeling to it as well.
Yeah.
Like it just feels incredibly honest, that song.
It's like Mick playing guitar. It's,
exactly.
Exactly
right. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. We got our next segment, which Brad is going to be really excited for. It's called Spocks and Spacks.
Everyone on your buzzers. Let's play
Spocks and Spacks. This is our rip-off of, there was an Australian show called Spicks and Specks in Australia, which was a music trivia show. And Brad will be singing 2 songs from the albums this week and 1 tune from another episode that we've done. Usually it'll be connected to these ones, while using a unrelated text. So what are we reading from today, Brad?
I'm going to be singing from Trouble Boys, the true story of the Replacements.
Oh, nice.
So I got the book out here. I really do need to read this because especially after today, I'm like, this is like, from what I'm hearing, this is insane. So
I would say that's the best music book ever written about a band. Yeah, it's the best band book of all time. I mean,
all the reviews on the back are crazy as well.
Bob Mayer, who wrote it, researched it for like 5 years, and Paul Westerberg's a recluse who doesn't talk to anybody, but he said that he did a good job on it.
Wow.
And he hates everything. So
that's big.
Anyways, it's a very fucked up read though. Some awful shit happened to those people.
Yeah.
Keen to hear it. So Brad, he's going to sing these songs and we've got to guess what they are. We usually need a buzzer. So my buzzer this week will just be bada bing.
Okay.
Do you want a buzzer, Luke? Have you got anything in mind?
I'll shake.
Nice. I always like the physical buzzer. That's good.
I love it.
All right, Brad, first track. What do we got?
All right. So I'm going to need to recalibrate for a second.
We get really nervous about this one every week.
Yeah.
I got to find just the bit where I'm singing from. I wrote it on my hand actually. Here we go. Instance and family just had stability on band 60 and Brian.
Oh, bada bing?
The early 1980s.
Is that androgynous?
Yeah, it was. Yes. Yes.
Damn it.
Good work, Brad. That was beautiful, mate.
I didn't really say the words right, but we got the melody out.
Yeah.
We beat out the melody. All right, next one. Okay. I taped tunes to Westerberg. And when played You Believe the Morning, down to the basement. Westerberg said there'll be 2 or 3.
Oh.
And they had a lot of stops and starts. Oh, that was really bad.
Is that is it Wild Horses?
No, it's close though.
Is it Moonlight Mile?
No.
Oh.
It's you're so close.
So close.
I really don't want to do it again.
Go just a little bit.
I just can't. I don't even know the next bit, so I'm just gonna have to wing it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Was it Sway?
Version, punk and garage. Rock and roll liberated him. This mindset, the guitar.
Bada bing. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it Sway?
No. It's a bit faster.
Can't you hear me knocking?
No, it's
God.
it's the second last one.
Second last
That's how
song.
much I boosted it.
Hang on.
Yeah.
What is the second last song?
About a certain plant.
Oh, it's Just the morphine.
No.
No.
Dead flowers. It was.
I don't flowers. Okay.
Sorry,
Damn it.
Luke. I know that was pretty shit.
That was a hard one.
I'm going to be putting on some
tough.
auto-tune for that, I think.
Yeah. You and me
This-
both, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this last one, I hope one of you get it.
Me too.
It has nothing to do with these albums. It's just a fucking awesome punk song
Okay.
that we did on the pod. Let's have a quick listen. All right. And that spring, Jeff Jodo asked Westwood Bird to fill in on guitar, and with his new and refused to for the opening, found a slot at the Longhorn, and here's the band who's trying to bring all back.
Is it a title fight song?
Close. And if I can't hear once, I hyped it up. I thought this album would go all the way in the.
By Citizen?
Yeah.
Fuck.
You didn't get it? I thought, why doesn't everyone love this song? I fucking love this song so much. Do you like Citizen, Luke?
I love Citizen. We toured with them on the Warped Tour
Wow.
and Seaway.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, I'm disappointed because I sung my heart out then.
Was it
I was gonna say.
Sleep?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, how does it feel?
Nah.
Nah. I don't know.
Uh,
What song was
my-
it, Brad?
it was The Summer.
Oh, The Summer.
A
Okay.
beautiful song, The Summer.
Very sorry, Brad.
That's all right.
And a
Hey, we need a
spirited
Saint
rendition.
Jack.
We need
Yeah.
Saini. Will always gets these, and he knows them.
Yeah.
I'm useless at it, so
And I'm
That's
used
all right.
to singing, so it was a
this was doomed from the start.
it's just too good. Hey, we had a crack.
We had a crack.
Yeah.
All right. Second last segment. We're gonna do 2 truths and a lie. So I'm gonna read out 3 statements. 2 are true, 1 is false, and you guys have got to guess which one is right. Which one is false? Sorry. So first one. When Sex Pistols bassist Sid Vicious found himself on trial for the murder of his girlfriend Nancy Spudgeon in 1978, Jagger secretly paid Vicious's legal fees
Well,
and didn't tell him. In 1976, Jagger purchased a $10 million manor in the south of France while high on a mixture of cocaine and acid and did not remember the purchase a couple days after. And the third one, Jagger bit off a part of his tongue during a game of basketball as a child, leading to his signature snarly lisp.
whoa.
So which
Can I
one?
go?
Which one do you think is false?
10
The last
million
one's
bucks?
false.
The last
You going
one?
to that one? Wow.
Yeah.
He's got it.
What do you reckon, Brad?
I was thinking $10 million sounds a lot for a house back in the day. That's what I'm thinking. $10 million in the 70s? Was it?
Well,
what
it
year
was
that, sorry?
£5 million. So
Okay,
I just went 10
shit.
million Australian because that's what
Right.
that would be.
Right. Okay. And the first one, that seems legitimate. Sid Vicious. Well, Luke's pretty keen on the last one. He might have some insider knowledge.
Okay.
I'll go something. I'm going to go the second one then because I think the
Okay.
money is too spinner.
All right. So first fact, when Sex Pistols bassist Sid Vicious found himself on trial for the murder of his girlfriend, Jagger secretly did pay his legal fees.
Wow.
And funnily enough, it was a couple months after Sid Vicious had said he'd been like trying to start beef with the Rolling Stones and said they were all about the money and that money doesn't matter. And then Jagger paid his legal fees for him
Wow.
as a bit of a fuck you, I think. Just to say it is good to have money.
Yeah.
In 1976, Jagger did not purchase a $10 million manor in the south of France.
I was right. Yes.
So you were right, Brad. Yeah, I just made that up.
Yep.
But he did apparently bite off the tip of his tongue and swallow it while playing basketball as a
shit.
child.
Wow.
Which is really, crazy fact that I found. I found it on Google, so who knows if it's real. But there you go. Apparently he says that's part of his lisp.
Cool.
Yeah.
Your tongue does grow back though, right? Isn't it? We might have had a bit different.
It might have just been because he was a kid. Maybe it was like part of a developmental phase, and now he just talks that way forever, cool. I guess.
Very cool.
Who knows? Anyway, well done, Brad. Killed it.
Well done.
I made up my singing.
So our very last segment for today, we're going to do. We're just going to rate these two albums. So we've got to rate them out of something. What are we thinking? Rolling Stones, rated out of.
Let's go 10 Moonlight
Wild
Miles.
Horses.
Oh, Wild Horses. Wild Horses is good.
Yep.
Yeah. And for the replacements, we will go 10 Black Diamonds.
Black Diamonds or bonus?
Yeah. Tonsils.
Tonsils? All right, let's go tonsils.
Yeah.
All right. So Luke, what are you rating? We don't do decimal points, but you can rate them a 10 if you want. Whatever you like out of 10 for, we'll go Rolling Stones first.
I'm going to go with a 9.
A 9? Nice.
How do you go with your 10s? Do you give out 10s a lot? Do you have any 10s in your roster per se? Or do you think nothing's a 10? How do you perceive a 10?
I probably give Blue Album a 10 by Weezer.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
me
awesome.
too. I would have thought.
But I think that like, even though these are my, two albums I hold very dearly, I think that there's things that I would cut from them.
Yeah.
Or the things that I find myself maybe fast forwarding through,
Yeah.
if I'm listening to it digitally. But I don't like a 10 is I'll never touch the dial. I'll just turn it on and go all the way through. So there's definitely a few 10s for sure for me.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I think that this is the closest for me that the Stones get to a no fast forward
Me too.
I'd agree with
type
that
situation.
Yeah. Cool.
Definitely.
Adam?
I'll go a 9 as well, actually, on this one, I think. I'm the same. I actually like this a lot more than Let It Bleed. We've done that one on the pod already. And I think it is because Mick takes a bit more of a charge on some of the songs. Like, they're my favorite songs probably on the album. There is a bit more vulnerability at points, but then there's also like, it's obviously the big massive hits as well, big rockin' songs. There are a couple little moments where maybe when they go a little bit more just like the straightforward blues route, then I get, well, not sick of it, but it's just more, I've heard it so much now that it's kind of, I do tend to skip over those little bits, but yeah, it's undeniable, the classics on it. And a lot of the deeper cuts I hadn't paid attention to. So I'll go a 9 on that one.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Brad?
Yeah, if I could probably go an 8.5, I probably would. Just because I think I'm probably going to give the replacements the advantage here. So I'm going to go an 8 for the Stones. Yeah, I love the variety of tracks. Everything's here. I like British rock, American blues, ballads, and some really good new songs I've never heard, including Can't Hear Me Knocking and Moonlight Mile. And I really like Bitch as well. That's kind of like a Beatles song.
Yeah.
I like my Revolver style.
Yeah, it does sound like Revolver.
You remember, like that's like my favorite shit from the Beatles. So I had a great time listening to that as well. So yeah, really pleasurable listen. Probably my favorite Stones album as well. So yeah, 8.
All right. Really high scores there. What are you going to give the replacements, Luke?
I'm going to give that also a 9. Similar thing. I mean, like, this is probably their best piece of an album, but I love, like, Tim, as we were discussing earlier, if some of the songs from Tim were on this record, I think it would be no problem a 10, but it's to me, I've listened to Let It Be so many times that there's not really like they all there are standout tracks on it, but to me, I just love it as a whole. But there's not like a Bastards of Young or an Left of the Dial, which were on on Tim. There's not really like a one of those undeniable stadium rock jams like Sticky Fingers has. And I have a real soft spot in my heart for stadium rock bullshit. So even though it is very, there are some definite bangers on Let It Be, I think it would achieve a 10 if it had a Bastards of Young on it or something akin to that.
I'm probably going to give it a 9 as well. Sorry to be so boring. I don't think I can split them. Just because I think they're great for, as you said, Sticky Fingers does have those big stadium rock tracks that are forever classics. But I'd never listened to this album before, this Replacements album, and I'm pretty hooked on it, to be honest. I found myself listening to it a lot more than Sticky Fingers over the week, just because I found it, it's kind of got a little bit of everything, but it does still feel quite focused on their own sound. I don't think it sounds like it's a mishmash at all. It fits. But I love, it's just completely fearless, I would say. They don't care about going in different directions, and they don't care about what they write about. They're happy to just really find an idea and just beef it out rather than being too nitpicky and then just ending up with a really vanilla sort of album. So really interesting song choices. And I think I kind of like the less stadium rocky sound usually anyway. So this is really up my alley, this album. And I'm really keen to just dive straight into the Replacements now, I think. Yeah. Brad?
I'm going to go, I think I'm going to go 9 as well. I'm going to give them the bench. I think obviously both these bands are super special, but I really felt the specialness this week from the Replacements over the Stones, I think. I really do need to read this book now because from what your insights, Luke, and what we've discussed today, it sounds like they're one of the more important bands that not that no one knows about, but they didn't sound like they didn't define this sort of generation, but they're well and truly in there, and they surely influence a lot of people to come afterwards as well.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hooked. So I really want to get into it more.
Another disciple.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I have listened to Tim a few times, but now I've got this bit more of an outlook on what they're all about. So it makes me really want to listen to them. So thank you for that as well.
My pleasure. I'm happy to proselytize the religion of the Replacements wherever I go, pint or no pint in hand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a great app. We do have a winner though. It's only just slightly. So Let It Be by the Replacement edges out Sticky Fingers with 27 out of 30. And Let It Be, Sticky Fingers has 26 out of 30. So two really big scores this week. I think they're going to go really far in our end of tournament, which is great. Love to hear what Saney thinks on these two albums. So they might have thrown a spanner in the mix.
Yeah.
But that was great. Thanks so much for coming on, Luke. That was awesome.
Absolutely my pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for having me, and always great to talk about rock and roll.
Exactly right. I think that's what we love the most as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, make sure you follow the Dirty Nil on socials. Get into their albums if you haven't already. We've banged on about them enough on the pod that if you're a listener, you should have already listened to them. And if you haven't already, follow us on the socials, please, on our Instagram. We've got Facebook, Twitter. We've got a really crappy Facebook group that we never, ever post to. The Record Royale, epic Facebook group Royale. Been a while. And we got totes. We got totes and merch on recordroyale.com.au. Yeah. If you're chasing,
get a tote.
Get a tote.
They got our faces on it.
They got our faces on them. Next week, we've got a massive show. 2 New Zealand artists, which is another, so international now, Brad. What the hell's going on? International Men of Mystery right now.
We're too good for history.
Yeah. We got Joel Shabhold from LAB and Jake Barton from Summer Thieves who are coming on. And they're doing Back in Black by AC/DC versus Sublime by Sublime, which is
crazy
mix-up.
I'm so keen.
Should be really interesting. Should be a crazy week.
Love it.
Yeah.
good.
Anyway, thanks so much again, Luke. Thanks for coming on. And we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, man. Much
Absolutely
appreciated.
my pleasure.
Cheers. Bye.